So I'm glad that we're doing this right here, right now, because I've been wanting to share this with you. And I know that we touched on it a little bit, but this last week, I got to see Gary Vee live.
Awesome. So this is going to be like tea with Gary Vee, so to speak.
That tea with Gary Vee. I got to see him like in real life as I was there. And when I registered for it, so this is within my company, they said that we couldn't take any pictures, but I saw that some people sneakily took pictures. So we're going to put it up here so that people can see it.
Oh,
The pictures did not come from me.
hopefully you don't get in trouble.
I won't get in trouble because I didn't take the pictures. So just saying. Okay, so when I was there, when I was doing it, I don't know what it is about me, but like for some reason, when I go to conferences, when I go to watch people speaking, I tend to kind of not expect the best. I'm kind of like sort of prepared for the worst.
Right.
So I've seen some speakers who really, it seems like they didn't practice or they weren't very sure about their content. You could tell that they're nervous. And so I was really looking forward to see what Gary Vee's demeanor was going to be. And so when I first saw him, in my opinion, again, this is Diana's view only. Everybody has their own perspectives. I was waiting. I was excited. And I was just wondering, like, what is his demeanor? What is his posture going to look like? And so he came out. He's very slight. He's a much shorter person than I expected in person. And I thought that he was going to be nervous. Like I did see him kind of like doing like the moving the foot kind of thing. But otherwise, he was just kind of observing. So he has like this, like had a little bit initially of an anxious energy about him.
Right.
But as Kyle, the person who was doing the interview with him, as he started speaking and you know, kind of like telling a little bit about his background, you could see that Gary got very comfortable. And again, I was kind of expecting him to not do as good in person. And so I was just kind of listening. But then one of the very first questions that they asked him, how does he maintain a relationship with all of the people that he's worked with? And this was when I kind of sat up a little bit more in my seat and I felt like my true engagement and respect coming towards him.
Why? What did he say?
He said quickly, he was like 5149. And I was like, what's that?
What's that?
What's 5149? And so remember that the question that they asked him was, how do you maintain a good relationship with the people that you've worked with? Because remember, especially for somebody who works with so many people and somebody like Gary Vee, you don't always agree on things, right? And you're probably, from what I've surmised of Gary, is that he's a very opinionated person. And so the way that he maintains a good relationship with anybody or with anyone that he works with is by, when it comes to 5149, is always giving 51% and leaving 51% on the table and only expecting 49% from them. So basically what he's saying is, I'm always going to put in more. I'm always going to leave money on the table, even if things don't always work out for the best.
And this is like for all types of relationships, business, friends, family, everything?
This is for all types of relationships. So he even said like for his wife, which shout out to him, he just got married to Mona Vand. And I've actually been following Mona Vand even before I ever heard of Gary Vee and like way back when. So I recently, because I read that book of his that you sent over to me, I kind of like looked him up and I was like, oh shit, he's dating Mona Vand, you know, and I had unfollowed her a while ago, but now I'm refollowing her again because I followed her like 10 years ago. So anyway.
The book was Day Trading Attention.
Day Trading Attention, yeah, which there were a lot of really good golden nuggets on there.
And by the way, you resisted. You said, I don't want to read that book.
Yeah, I did resist. I actually finished it. I finished the entire book, but he kept saying, let me go off script for a second. And then he would go on and on and on and keep going off of script.
Right.
But at the end of the day, like I would say, when it came to his book, I thought it was a very valuable book, especially for what it is that we're doing right now.
Exactly.
One of the things that he says is post every single freaking day.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. And you know, we've been doing this a year. I'm hoping that, you know, we do become people that become experts at what it is that we're doing. We're growing slowly but surely, but you're right. And he said it. It's not going to be an overnight sensation kind of thing.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of time. And you said it yourself. We have to put out 100 videos. And that we're slowly going to continue progressing. And when we look at the videos that we posted from the very first day to where we are now, I mean, the difference is quite huge. But we didn't see that until after we started posting every single day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Back to the 5149.
Going back to the 5149, what he was saying is, even in relationships like you and I, our expectation of ourselves, because we can only control our own selves, right? Our own expectation is to put in more than what we expect of the other person. That's the only way that we're going to be happy in life, and we're going to enjoy and be joyful, but also maintain the good relationships. So yes, we do expect something of other people, but we need to make sure that we're putting it even more than what we expect of them. And I thought that was really valuable advice.
So let's dig in deeper for that insight, because it's, 5149. It's okay. Let's go further here. So first of all, a lot of people keep score. So for example, you invite us for a party. You invite me for a party. I go there carrying a gift worth $10. You come to my party, you come in with a gift worth with $20, for example, just to dumb it down to people.
Yeah.
So now you could be bitter about this, and then you invite me to another party, and I go with a $10 bottle, and so it becomes like, okay, your gift level is higher than my gift level.
Yeah.
So you're doing the 5149 basically. But if you feel bitter about it, that's not what he meant, does it?
The whole point, I think, is to whatever it is that you do it with the best of intentions without any expectation. I'm going to give an example about my little brother. My little brother, shout out to Victor. He's an entrepreneur.
Right.
When he was little, he started his first company, and I was the first investor. And I think I gave him like $500, right? I gave him, no. I'm sorry. I'm going to be as honest as possible. I think it was actually close to like $200.
Okay.
So I gave him $200. I gave him $200 as an investor. When I gave him the $200, his business was obviously not doing really well. He was a brand new entrepreneur, so he wasn't taking it as seriously as I thought that he should, right? And so I remember asking him for my money back. And he was like, nope, you don't get your money back. And I remember
it got lost with the business.
It got lost with the business. And I remember being so mad at him, and I was like, no, you better give me my money back.
Right.
This was a really hard lesson, but it's a good lesson, because it's pennies now compared to what it would be now, right? But my mom was like, if you ever give money to anybody, don't expect that they're going to give that money back.
Correct.
Because if you have that expectation, you're going to live with a life of bitterness. You're going to end up having hate in your heart. She also said, this also means don't loan people anything unless you're okay with never getting that thing back.
Correct.
And I've had to, and it was such a hard lesson.
And that's also mentioned by Dave Ramsey, our favorite personal finance guy. He talked about it in his book. He says, if someone asks you for money, either straight out decline or give them what you are happy to depart from, like ever.
Yes.
Like not to expect them to return ever. Yeah.
Absolutely. So that was a lesson that I learned, and I live by that right now. And it helps me to be, I think that I'm a very happy person. I'm a very grateful and joyful person.
Right.
And I think things like this, I would never ask anybody for money because I know the implications. I know that it means a lot for somebody to have to give you money.
Right.
And vice versa. If somebody were to ask me for money, I would think about it extremely carefully before ever saying yes.
Yes.
Because when I'm giving that money, that means that I have the full expectation. I'm writing a contract with myself that I'm not expecting that money back.
Sure. And to tie this example you gave to the 5149, it means that when you give the 51%, like with you and you're supporting your brother and stuff, that's you doing your duties of the 51%. And the idea is that when we give in relationships the 51% of ourselves, we should not expect that 1% to be back. It's part of us being the 51%, kind of like the older person or the bigger person in the relationship. Is this what you think it's
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it just having that 51-49 mentality allows us to have that internal peace. And while it may look like we're being the bigger person for the other person, at the end of the day, you're protecting yourself and you're being the bigger person for you. You know, you're protecting your happiness, your sanity, your self-love and health.
right? And I can relate to, for example, Parrots Lab, the company that we're building, right? The way I treat my clients is that I want to give them that 51% experience, whereby, yes, we agree on a scope of work, we agree on a price, let's say, a compensation package, right? But then I make sure that I am stretching that scope of work to the limit. Like I'm over delivering
Yes.
on the promises that I make. And sometimes I do like little things here and there for free. I don't want to ask them for money, just to keep and maintain the 51%, that the value that we're providing is always more than the price they pay.
Exactly. And I do agree that that's always going to help maintain those relationships.
Cool. So tip number 1, Gary Vee. Thank you, sir, for teaching us the 51-49%. I actually used it in a BNI meeting, by the way.
Oh, you did?
With my 60 seconds. Yeah, I stood up last week and I was like, yeah, my wife taught me 51-49%, which who she have learned it from, the one and only Gary Vee. I wish one day Gary Vee will come to the Moonshooters podcast. That would be cool.
That would be so cool. Gary Vee, if you're listening, you know what to do.
I mean, look, we are not remotely as successful as he is, but if he comes, he will be blessing this business. Of course, he will be adding a huge value and a huge boost and accelerate everything we're doing. Because I think we're going to get to a very good place.
John, I have to say, I think we're already in a very good place. From last year to where we are this year, we've exceeded what our goal was, right?
Absolutely,
We've
yeah.
exceeded our expectations. So we're in a great spot. And I think growing slowly and steadily is better than, being a sensationalized immediate success, because those immediate successes could always come back and bite us, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to go.
And I don't know if we have even the capacity. Let's say we got super famous all of a sudden and we have a huge influx of clients. I don't know we need time to build up teams and stuff to work with them. But what I meant is the size of the audience, right? Like Gary Vee, he has 4-5 million subscribers on his YouTube. His videos get hundreds of thousands of views. So we're not there yet, but we're getting there. But if someone like Gary Vee would come to our show, we're happy to do whatever it takes. But I think that size of the audience will grow. That's what I meant.
We're growing.
Yeah.
And
we're growing either or. We're growing either or with Gary Vee type personalities or without. It's by hook or by crook we're growing, and we are on that path already. But I'm just saying that, if I was thinking about something.
Okay.
And sorry, I'm just going off tangent here, but I was thinking if I become one day or you become one day like Gary Vee, would you see someone like us investing almost everything back into the business, improving our production value, trying to make it? Would you come and, because you're going to come to the show, let's say you have 5 million followers and you have a big personality, big audience, and we have 10,000, right? So there's a big gap. Would you come to that show to help those young entrepreneurs?
You want the real answer?
Yeah.
It depends.
You're making it like a lawyer.
No. You're right. But hear me out. It depends. So first of all, not to get political, but the whole Charlie Kirk thing just happened, right?
Yeah.
And so for me and for us as entrepreneurs who are putting our faces out there and who are, when we're being put on camera, we're sharing opinions. We're not always sharing straight up facts, right? This is, I'm sharing something from the perspective of Diana. You're sharing something from the perspective of Naja. Mm-hmm. And so not everybody is going to agree with what it is that we're saying. And not everybody is going to take what we say, what may be our fact or the way that we think of something in the moment may not be the way that it resonates with somebody else. So with that said, there's a lot of dangerous people out there, especially for anybody that's in the content business. So again, it depends. If somebody were to reach out to me and say, hey, I would love to do something with you. I would love to collaborate with you.
Right.
And you get to know them a little bit first, right? That's quite different than just saying yes to some random kid who's going to go, who you have no idea who this is, who says that they want to shoot something with you, right?
You're making a very good point.
So not only that, but also it needs to be well coordinated. So I know for a fact, and he said it during the show, that right after, because he doesn't live in this area and he doesn't live in LA, he shared what his day was going to look like immediately after the show. So he was going to go to Los Angeles where he was coordinating a big investor meeting, right? And then he was going to have a dinner that he also coordinated along with his wife, like for some investors, right? And so these are things that I think were put together and were well planned out, well in advance. If putting myself in his shoes, if I have meeting after meeting and then a giant dinner, and I have to travel all the way to LA, I probably would not make make space to go to see some last minute random person, right?
I totally agree.
And that's why I say it depends. I don't think that it's not that he doesn't have, that his heart's not in the right place. I think that for somebody like him, who has a lot going on, and again, he's just human. We're all just human. But when somebody has a lot going on and there's a lot that's at stake with every minute of your time, I'd be more likely to say no to more things than saying yes.
I agree. I totally agree. And so we're good. All right, let's keep going. So that was the first tip, which is the 5149. That was really good.
The second question that he was asked was, what do you listen to more? Do you listen to your head or do you listen to your gut? Right? And so what they mean by this is, do you think about things before saying yes, or do you follow your instincts? And I was not prepared for the answer that he was going to give, because I really thought that he was going to say that he spends a lot of time thinking. He has a lot of partners, so he spends time, going over things and strategizing. But actually, he said that it's always better to listen to your instincts, to listen to your gut. And I touched on this with you already.
They asked him about the gut versus the thinking part, and he shocked you by answering that he makes decision out of gut.
Yeah. He was saying that more and more there is research on your gut and on your health, your overall body health. It starts from your gut, right? And when you think of your gut, this is how the food is processed. If you don't have a good gut, then your health goes to shit, right? And all of these things. And so he was saying, as more and more science evolves, the more reliant we are on our guts. And so when they talk about instincts, say like, for example, mother's instincts, oftentimes these instincts don't come from anybody else. It's not like I had a conversation with you, Naja, where you're telling me your perspective and you're filling my brain with all of your experiences that have happened in the past. No, this is an experience that you have solely by yourself. Nobody else can have this feeling of an instinct for you. Only you can have it. And oftentimes, if you hone this feeling of instinct, your instinct tends to be right. So one example that he gave of this was, he's friends or he's partners with somebody that started this company named Uber. So his friend, he started this company, and Gary Vee had just bought an apartment. And so he was strapped for cash. He didn't have a lot of money, a lot of liquid cash. And so this guy, he was like, hey, do you want to invest in my company? And Gary Vee, even though he felt like it could possibly be a good idea, his brain, when he was thinking with his brain, he decided that it was not a good idea. It wasn't a good idea because of this. It was all of these extraneous factors.
Yeah, you can find reasons to support any of the decisions that you might take.
You can find reasons for anything, because your brain is like, is always going to be thinking, and not only thinking, but overthinking.
Yeah.
And it's easy for us, if you think about it, to overthink everything.
Sure.
Should I do this? No, I shouldn't because of this. Should I do this? Yes, I should, but maybe I should do it because of this, right? Our brains can never really give us, especially for the big things that could be a little risky, they'll never give us a definitive yes or no. There's always a maybe, right? And so with that maybe, we don't have a lot of information. We don't have a lot of, there's a word that I was going to use. But anyway.
So just to be clear here, are you suggesting that when someone say, I had a gut feeling about buying this car, are you saying that the feeling is coming actually from the gut, from the stomach, like from this intestines? Is this what you're saying? Or I thought it's a metaphor for just having a feeling about it. And the feeling is controlled still by the brain. That's what I thought.
I don't know exactly what it was that he meant.
But he was talking about gut health.
He's talking about gut health, and he was talking about gut instinct. Now, I don't want to put any words in his mouth, right? Because I don't know him very well. I've literally had one encounter, and I didn't even talk to him, right? But in my opinion, from the way that I heard him, I think he was talking about instinctively from his gut. And I think that if you think about it, there's something, I don't know if it's necessarily your gut, but there's oftentimes you kind of feel like, say when you're in danger, for example, or there's a possibility of danger, you kind of feel something, right? It's like an instinctive feeling, and it's not necessarily coming from your head. Right. It's just a feeling. Sometimes it's like you feel goosebumps. Right. Or you feel like
something is off, or
you know,
something
like you feel like there's like a little something on your shoulder. And so, and sometimes you even feel it in your stomach, where it's like those butterfly kind of feelings, right? Sure. Like that tingly feeling. And I think I think that is something like your body or something inside of yourself that is trying to warn you or send you some type of message. And what Gary is saying, what he was saying was, as you start to listen more to your instinctual instincts, right, to your instincts, the more they're going to serve you, the better they'll lead you in whatever it is that you're doing, is what he was saying.
Right. Mm-hmm. Can I present an opposing argument to
you
Gary
can,
Vee?
But you sure, you can. Just know that I'm just repeating what he's saying.
No, of course. Right. I'm not opposing you. Okay. I'm opposing his idea.
Okay.
All right. So here's my counter argument to Gary Vee on this point. Mm-hmm. When he says that you should listen to your gut, but you need to train the gut. Let me explain. There was a book that I read a long time ago. It's called Blink. Forgot the name of the author. But that book argues that when they hire these experts in detecting whether an artifact is authentic or a copycat, they used to bring these experts, and the more expert you are, they look at the artifact and they had a feeling about it, even without doing any testing. But that is because those experts have honed the skill, have seen so many authentic objects in their lives, that even if they don't have the rational data, their subconscious is already trained to detect that artifact. So if we're sending out advice, and this is again to Gary Vee, if you're sending advice to the world, like follow your gut, you have also to say that you need to be expert on what you're doing, to train your gut to see things over and over, so that you will be able to trust your gut. But if you grab someone off the street, think about design, for example, right? We have designers in the team. Sometimes they produce work and it's completely rubbish, right? And then we reject it. We have to redo it. Why they are producing work that is not good? I mean, if they trust their gut, they might, their work should be good. However, sometimes with 5-minute work on an expert's laptop, they can produce a design so much better than the young people. And this is because the more experienced you are, the more expert and the more your skill is honed, your gut becomes better. You can detect things, you can feel things, and you can produce great work instinctually.
So what you're saying is that it's not just gut and training your gut, but you have to also use your brain and, gain some experience so that eventually you can use both together.
Exactly. Here's my Naja theory. And if you like, we're having a conversation here.
Yeah.
My Naja theory is that the brain, if I can compare the brain to the computer, the brain has what we call the cache or the RAM, which is the cache memory, basically that memory that is readily available. And it has like the hard drive, the memory that is stored in the hard drive that is not readily accessible.
Yeah.
And so every time we have data coming in, let's say we're training our eyes to detect beauty. So we're seeing a lot of beautiful things. We're training our mind to detect good literature, good novels. So we're training that mind. So the data is coming to the cache, and then it's stored in the hard drive, coming to the cache, and it's stored to the hard drive. So it's going to the top of the conscious memory that you have, and then it's going deeper into the layers of the mind. Do that for a long time, then your mind could produce what seems like an instinctive reaction to things, but super accurate. Why? Because it's like kind of like it goes to the subconscious of the mind, and kind of like when you're a good driver, right? Like it becomes instinctual. You don't think about driving, and sometimes
Over time, yeah.
Sometimes you do some maneuvers last minute without any involvement of your conscious brain, completely instinctual. Why? Because you've done it so many times.
Yeah.
But bring a young driver or someone who hasn't driven that many times and tell them to use their gut. I mean, they're going to crash.
Yeah. I do think that that's kind of what he's talking about though. Like he's like, because he's saying train your gut. But I think what he's not mentioning is, yes, there's that component of you're going to make mistakes. And over time, as you're focusing on this particular skill. So for example, for him, he's obsessed with marketing and business, right? That's actually what you're obsessed with too. But you're training your mind, you're training yourself, and you're starting to listen to your gut to understand what's going to work, what's not going to, based off of your past experiences.
I think what's a good point that he's making too is that don't overthink it.
Yeah.
So just do it, right? Like recently when you interviewed Virginia Blumenthal, the
Virginia Blumenthal, my hero.
Amazing lawyer. But when you ask her, like, what advice do you have for young people? Just do it, right? Because a lot of people get stuck. You talked about your colleague that he wanted to do content creation forever. He bought all the equipment. I know a friend as well. He have all the equipment. They all want to do content creation, but they are stuck. They're not making that leap of faith. They're not doing it. So this is just simple word. Just do it.
Just do it. And this is what we talk about all the time. I feel that this is our motto. We feel the fear.
And do it anyway.
And do it anyway.
Let's go.
Yes, I love it.
All right, next.
When he started off and he wasn't so big, how was he able to go about getting clients or working with people? How did you do well? Like, how were you able to continue? I think that like along the lines of what he was asked, okay? And he said, it's important that whatever it is that you're doing, you don't get emotional. If you get emotional, then you're already losing. And so he said, this goes, for example, when it comes to wanting to work with clients. If clients see that you're desperate, if clients see that you're asking them or begging them for a meeting so that they could work with you or you could work with them, you've already lost all your leverage.
Wow. Okay.
So you have to build your skills. We have to build our skills and be so freaking good that when people come to us, they want to work with us. And this way we have the leverage, not the other way around.
Yeah.
If we don't have the leverage, we have already lost and they can wipe the floor with us. So he was talking about don't get too emotional with anything,
Right.
He's talked about in the past 5149. We always provide more value so that they can see that they cannot live without us. They can see that we truly bring so much to the table that they can't afford to not be with us, right? So this thing about not getting emotional,
It's hard.
it's so freaking hard.
Because that hits home. Like hearing you say that, I'm like, oh my God, he's talking to me.
You and
Okay, I need some Zen moment here. Like seriously. My God. Okay. All right. This is probably one of my biggest challenges, things that I'm deeply working on, is that idea to really like whenever I have the chance to ask for a meeting, you're totally right. I feel like in my gut, right? I feel in my gut that something is off.
You're giving your power away.
Exactly. But at the same time, I learned from so many other like gurus, if you want to say, that you need to ask for what you want in life, right? Like we've been brainwashed by this idea that you can have anything you want, just ask for it. I mean, like, but this goes against, sometimes you gotta not ask. But it's hard because I can definitely help this client or future client or prospect. I can definitely help you. So I need to ask you for a meeting, because my fear is that if I don't, he's not gonna think that I want to work with them. So I want to indicate or signal that I want to work with you. And sometimes it's hard for people or prospects to just offer that or come. Or maybe I should just. What do you think?
Oh,
okay. Let's project this to me and to me and Parrots Lab. Let's project that idea that you're talking about to us. How can we apply it?
This is so hard. And I wish there had been more opportunity to ask for follow-up questions or anything. I'm going to tell you later on at the end what happened, which I'm not happy about, but I'm going to tell you. But I wish a follow-up question could have been, well, what do us people who are just starting a business, what do we do then? Because we can be all great and amazing and everything, but if people don't give us the opportunity to come and see us and see what it is that we can do and the value that we can provide, how are they going to know? Right?
Yeah.
And that's really difficult. And so one of the things that he said is you have to get so freaking good that nobody can ignore you.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, we're trying to be so freaking good, but and I hate saying but we have a budget, we have a budget. We can't go around editing, doing videos and editing everybody's pictures and buying all of this equipment, state-of-the-art equipment, just so we could do something out for somebody out in the real world. And, spend hundreds of dollars and then just be like, this is what I created for you, right? Because then they're going to be like, well, thanks, gee. And then they're going to be like, well, that was nice, but they're not going to come and work with us. There's no guarantee. As a matter of fact, I remember when we first started, I mean, obviously we didn't spend all that budget, but we did what we could. And to get our name out there, we did start doing things for free, and that was taken advantage of so quickly. It's like, this is so great. I love what you're doing. But then they wouldn't shout us out. They would just claim that edited episode as their own, as if they're the ones that did it. Right. Sometimes they wouldn't even post it because they're afraid of being judged. Right. And we literally hand wrapped everything with a little bow and gave it to them with no expectations.
Yeah.
Or well, maybe with a little bit of an expectation of take a look at it. Maybe you'll love our work and come to us. Right. But none of that happened.
Yeah.
And so I would have loved to be able to ask him the question, hey, what would you do in our shoes, in our specific shoes?
Exactly.
Help us, guide us, because we tried just being the best.
Yeah. I did it for an entire year.
Yeah.
I did free podcasting for an entire year, offering my platform, offering video editing, all of that, just come on my show. And I actually don't regret it because I had great conversation. I get to learn more about the ins and outs of,
and you got better.
I got better. I honed my skill. But you're totally right. Like the people, as soon as something is free, they're programmed to devalue it, to look down at it. As soon as you start putting price tags on whatever, people start respect you as a person more. Because right now, these people who have been on my online podcast at the time, like I feel like we don't even have a good relationship. My good relationship is with my clients because there's some sort of level of respect there.
Yeah. And the reason the relationship or the good relationship isn't there is because you gave them something for free, and it kind of created a little bit of awkwardness where like, oh, now I kind of feel obliged, but I don't want to because I know the price tag is now too high.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, it's a little disheartening. It was disheartening for that first year where we had to just kind of be like, we can't do free anymore.
Yeah, I think with that kind of setup, every time we hit record is costing us a lot of money. If you divide all the equipment, all the transformation that we did to that space, if you add to it the cost of our lovely video editors, the designers, the social media people, the time that we are spending.
Yeah.
Yes, when we brought a client for an interview, the interview may be 1 to 2 hours. Okay, how much is that? That has some value.
Yeah.
But also the preparation.
Oh yeah, especially you. You want everything to work so well that you spend 2 hours going over the questions that you're going to ask. You do some really sweet things behind the scenes to surprise and delight the guest, right? And the client. Make things so that you are helping them to put their best foot forward. All of that takes time to do. All of that takes research, not just on the person, but also their career, their business.
Yeah.
So that is not nothing.
Of course, like I'm utilizing my 17 years of experience to think of what is good for their business, to come up with a theme for the content, what they should be talking about. A client, sometimes I gave them like a tagline for their business that basically summarized their business strategy in total, right?
Yeah.
So we are doing all of that, and it's way more worth even the price that we charge. Like I believe still we're so much undercharged. I showed you an example of this other person who's charging like 30 grand for videos like this, just because I totally get it. Like it takes a lot of like effort to build a personal brand, and we are in that space. We are building personal brands out here.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the next question.
That is a very tough one. The idea is not to ask and let people come to you. And I think it's going to happen eventually.
Hold on. I want to be very clear, because I think this is a great discussion, but I want to be very clear that number one, we're doing well.
Yeah.
We're doing really well. But number two, I am so grateful for what we do already have. I know it kind of sounds a little bit like we're frustrated or we're complaining, but it's not that. We're not complaining. We're talking about, real questions that we've asked ourselves late at night, because we want to make sure that we're constantly raising our level up, right? We're constantly pushing the boundaries and pushing that envelope. And the way that we could get better is by asking these kinds of questions and never just being satisfied with what we already have.
Yeah.
The whole point is the journey, and the journey is progress and growth.
Definitely.
So the next question, and I feel like we've touched on this a little bit, but the next question that Gary was asked was, what epiphany has hit you hard? What epiphany has hit you hard? And I freaking loved this answer.
What did he say?
Self-esteem and insecurity.
Explain.
Okay, so I loved this answer because he said that the problem with this nation is that in his books, in his podcast, he's always freaking telling people, record yourselves, turn on that camera and just post, right? Post 100 videos, keep on posting. This is what's going to help you grow.
Yeah.
But even though he was literally spelling out the answer to people, as he was going online, nobody was doing it.
Yeah.
And he had the hardest time figuring out why. He's like, this is so freaking frustrating. I'm giving the answers out to people, I'm telling them what to do so that they could be successful, and yet nobody is doing it.
Right.
Why? And over time, after doing a lot of self-reflection, and this didn't just come, quickly, it came after some time, he realized that it's because this nation has issues with self-esteem and insecurity.
That's wild.
People love the idea of doing videos like what we're doing, but they don't do it because they're scared.
They're insecure.
They don't do it because they don't have the self-esteem, and they to your point, they're afraid of what other people will say, which I totally understand that. I can totally understand that. And I've done it too.
Oh, yeah.
I went 34 years without 30
without shooting
without shooting a single thing.
Right. And I remember, do you remember the very first video I posted?
I do remember.
And you know what's funny? I was literally just watching before I arrived. I was cutting my hair. I was going to a barber shop, and I was listening on the road Gary Vee's podcast or something like that.
Yeah.
And I stopped in the parking lot and I pulled up my phone, put record on, and I literally said to the camera, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I know that I should be on video for 15 years and I never got the gut to do it. And now I'm breaking that freaking thing right now. And I'm committing to everyone online that they're going to see my face a lot. And here we are.
Wow.
2 years after that.
I have freaking goosebumps. I don't know if you can see it, but I have goosebumps right now. Mm-hmm. And it's true. Yeah, I remember when he first posted, and I was kind of shocked.
Yeah.
I was like inspired too, and I was so proud because I know how freaking scary it is to put yourself out there and wait for people to judge you.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do. They judge you.
Mm-hmm.
Good,
So
bad,
true.
ugly. That's just the way that it is.
And I think, the answer to answer that, like what the nation does, and I think you're going to tell me what Gary said about like to kind of solve the problems, because he described that the problem right now in the nation is that they have low self-esteem and insecurities. And although everyone knows by now that creating content is the way to go, if you want to get a job, if you want to get a client, if you want to improve your career, right?
Yeah.
We have to create content. Everyone is coming to that realization, but no one is doing it because of that self-esteem issues and the insecurities. But what's the solution?
Okay, well, first of all, let me go back to what you did. When I saw that you did that, and I saw that you continued doing that, that's what inspired me to finally put my freaking face out there,
Right.
And now you see this. A year ago, this would be my biggest freaking fear. Mm-hmm. A year ago, I'd be like, oh my God, no way in hell am I going to do this. Mm-hmm. But I'm doing it, and I'm doing it because I can justify in my head, and maybe I'm delusional, but I can justify in my head that I have something important to share. Mm-hmm. I think that it's not about me and the way that I look and the way that my hair is and the way that nobody gives a shit about that.
Yeah.
What people are going to sit and watch are what I have to say. And there are things and experiences that I uniquely have that I can share with the world. And maybe there's one person out there who my message can resonate with, and that's the person that I'm speaking to.
I love it. Absolutely.
Yeah. And what Gary said, and I actually really like this. I don't know if you know this, but he started this thing called V Friends. Have you ever heard of it?
I've heard of it.
You have heard of it?
A little bit.
Okay.
I mean, I've been a follower of Gary for a long time.
I only started following, or not even following, but I only read his book because of you.
Right.
In my opinion, I felt like he used way too many bad words that it kind of lost the message, right?
Right.
But something that he said that I thought was so sweet and adorable was he started this thing called V Friends. And because we come from a generation where everybody gets judged, and for some reason we're all insecure, and we're all, we all are lacking in self-esteem. His goal is to fix that. And the way that he wants to fix that is by starting this channel or starting this thing called V Friends, where they're these little cartoon animals, these little cartoon friends, and each of them represents something that is important. The accountable ant, right? And this ant, it's a literal ant, but this ant shows the value and it's constantly going through scenarios and little shows of how to hold yourself accountable. Because at the end of the day, and we do this all the time, we say, oh, this didn't go well because of some extraneous variable.
Scapegoating.
Right? We're always scapegoating and we're always placing the blame on somebody else, and that helps no one. Mm-hmm. And especially that does not help you, because that allows you to say, oh, well, what didn't go well, not because of me, but because of something else. Right? And the more we do that, the more we feel that we are blameless and we blame something else that didn't go well. And that is dangerous.
Yeah.
That's extremely dangerous, not just for ourselves, but the people that we surround ourselves with. And so this accountable ant is going to help fix that, starting with the little ones. So we are teaching people in our generation who are parents, we're helping parents to parent well. Kind of like, I want to say, think of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood kind of thing. I'm akinning it to that.
I think this generation is becoming soft in a way that when it comes to adversity, they try one video, it didn't. I think social media is a little example of life, right? You can take social media and success over social media as a metaphor of other life endeavors that the young generation is facing. And one of them is that, they are so quick to decide and to judge on anything. Mm-hmm. So they will try this. Oh, I'm not good for that. And try that. No, I'm not good for that. And they just, they're just lazy. They just don't. I think for people like in our generation, it was rougher than that. There's the choices that people have today is different from the choices we had when we grow up. We don't say we as soon as I remember you and me, like I said, as soon as we graduate, we're hungry to work. We're hungry to be employed. It's like if we are late for that, it's a problem. Like we feel like, and we are ready to work our ass off. Mm-hmm. We're not shy from that. I think that the generation today think of work as a choice, or as they have all these rights in the world, and I don't know if I'm having a point here, but
I think you do have a point, and I think that extends though to more than just the generation or the Gen Z people that are happening. I would say even in my generation, I still remember that saying, YOLO. You only live once, right? And so this YOLO was the excuse to go and spend your money frivolously. YOLO was your excuse to go travel the world and, take a few years off just to hang out if you had that money. Now, I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I am saying that there is this sense of wanting to have life be easier. And I think what I've been personally learning more and more is that the more you freaking work for it, the more pride and satisfaction you have in yourself. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people out there, and I have family as well who I feel, in my opinion, may take life a little for granted. May feel like there's entitlement to what their life is supposed to be. But in my opinion, and from the work that I am doing, I feel that you are going to have much more of a happier life and a much more pleasurable life when you are working your ass off to get to a result that you would like to have. And at the end of the day, it's all about the journey, not that destination. It's all about the journey. Like we've talked about this already. It's all about the journey of marriage, right? Not getting married. Every single day we're learning about each other.
Yeah.
Every single day we're growing and we're working on something together. And that brings me so much more pleasure than just the fact that we're married.
Yeah.
You know, because you can go to a courthouse. Anybody can go to a courthouse and get married, right? But the work, the effort, the ethics, the commitment to stay married, to have an amazing relationship, that takes freaking work. And it's a journey, and it's exciting to wake up next to that person every single day, knowing that you're in for more work together.
Yeah. Super true. I think that people need to take responsibility of their lives. And look internally and not externally. What do they need to do? Because that's I mean, I'm talking about how I see it from my perspective. I'm a real example of that. Like, I'm always looking internally. If something did not happen in the world the way I want it, I'm looking at what are things that I can control. I know life, we still don't know anything about life. And so all we need to know is that this is our life. We have choices to make. We are playing with the cards that we're dealt. But I think it's not important to go and challenge the cards. Let's improve how we play, right? Like, go and be bitter about why you're dealt with that cards is useless. Like,
Right.
you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And you're right. You become happier when you're at least maneuvering the cards that you're playing, improving your skill at playing, and try to maximize what you can contribute in this life. I mean, this is the only way I see. Like, being completely like lazy and just be entertained and taking everything for granted and wanting everything like you and being the selfish, I don't understand. Like, what are you leaving behind? Like, what kind of legacy are you leaving? We don't know if there's anybody who's going to appreciate that when we die, because we don't know what happens when we die. But what are we leaving is something I think is positive. I'm always leaning to positive than negative, right?
All right. So he ended up spending an entirety of about an hour with us. And I would say, like, the other question that was asked is, what do you think, or when do you think you'll have made it? And it was so cute because he talked about his mom. He talked about his mom and how he moved to New York. He came, I think, from Belarus, which my brother-in-law is from. So I immediately thought of Alex. But so he came from Belarus, and his family was super poor. And when he moved to New York, they talked about this game called football. And so he was just walking around, because in those days they didn't have PlayStation 3s or 4s or anything. What you did was your parents gave you some breakfast, and then you were and then you left out the door and you were gone for the next 8 hours or so. Right. And so he was walking, right? He was walking, and he came across some kids who were throwing around a ball. And I can't remember for the life of me what football team he was talking about, because I don't know anything about sports. But there was a particular team that these kids loved, and it has something to do with a green shirt, right? So I don't know if anybody will know what I'm talking about.
That tells how we're not sports people.
Or we're not sports people. But yeah, anyway, he likes this. They loved this team with green shirts, and they all were wearing the shirt. And so he started playing with them, became friends with them. And he's like, "Mom, I want one of these shirts too." And because, like, these are immigrant parents, when your parents are immigrants, like mine were, and yours, right? So when your parents are immigrants, all they're trying to care about and all they're trying to do is finding a way to put food on the table. And he wanted something extraneous. He wanted something that is not anywhere near the radar of priorities for his parents. And so he came and he was like, "Mom, can I get one of these shirts?" And his mom was like, "Absolutely not." We don't have money for that, right? But instead, what she did, which is so sweet, and this is where, like, everybody started getting teary-eyed. But instead, what she did was she spent time. She would go to sleep late at night after everybody was in bed, and she made him a sweater with the
logo
with the logo
of that team.
Yeah, she made him a sweater with the logo of that team.
Oh my God.
And he still has it to this day.
How sweet is that?
Isn't that so sweet? But what makes it even more special is his goal, when people would ask, when his teachers would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Right? Some person would say a firefighter, another person would say a doctor. Back then, everybody wanted to be a veterinarian, right? But he said, I want to be the owner of this team. You know, that was his dream. That's what he wanted to be. And so his goal, I think it was like the Jets, something Jets. Anyway.
You probably offended so many people, right?
I'm so sorry. That is not my intention. But yeah, what he was saying is that his goal to this day is still, before he dies, he wants to be the freaking owner of that stadium, of that team and that stadium. And he said that the moment that he becomes the owner, he's going to put that sweater up at the very front.
Wow.
To show people that dreams do come true.
Yeah.
And the bigger you freaking dream, the better, because that is what's going to make you shoot for the freaking moon. And even if you miss,
you still land among the stars.
Exactly. Even if you miss, you land among the stars. And that's the whole freaking point. Okay. You have to shoot for the moon. You have to shoot for something that is big, that is great. And even if it sounds hard, you start taking those baby steps. And as you're surpassing little goals after little goals, eventually that moon is going to seem a lot closer. And eventually you're going to land somewhere within that target.
You know, I started my career at Leo Burnett. Leo Burnett is one of the top advertising agencies around the world. They have they work with big international clients and big budgets and stuff. But one of the quotes that caught my attention is Leo Burnett, him saying that shoot for the stars, even if you may not, something around like shoot for the stars, even if you don't get one, your feet won't be in mud either. That's the quote of that guy.
And what does that mean to you?
It's kind of what we're talking about, like shoot for the moon. Basically, dream. Allow yourself to dream. Allow yourself to have ambitious goals, to do great things, right? Allow yourself to imagine yourself shooting for the moon, in the moon. And that idea of imagining, or that excitement, that energy that this idea gives you, we are what we think, right? We are our thoughts. Our thoughts become words. Our words become behavior. And
our behavior becomes reality.
Exactly. And so what struck me was that when we shoot for the stars, whether we achieve it or not, although like for me, I want to achieve my biggest, wildest dreams. And I believe I can, right? I believe the other people who did greatness don't have what I don't have, right? Don't have what I don't have. They have exactly what I have, and I have exactly what they had. And so I don't see myself I'm not trying to limit my dreams, but I'm saying that even if you don't get to the stars, the fact that energy of shooting for the stars makes your legs not in mud, not in the soil. So that's what this quote means. And that's the whole inspiration comes with the Moonshooters podcast, which is our new season or new edition or new program that we're building to celebrate entrepreneurship. Because what's an entrepreneur? Entrepreneur is someone who's shooting for the moon.
Yeah.
Or someone who's allowing themselves to dream, allowing themselves to take control of their own destiny, shape the future the way their will wants it.
And fighting against that limiting belief that is so easy for us to all have.
Absolutely.
It's so important for me that I am with my partner who dreams hugely, who dreams so big. Even last night, you you woke up this morning and you were thinking and you were dreaming and you were coming up with these ideas. And it means so much to me. It truly means so much to me. And I was actually telling this to our clients today, how everything that comes through your mind, every idea that comes through your head, you always share it with me.
Yeah.
Without fail, you always share it with me. And it's my responsibility to make sure that I allow you to continue to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Because I know that there are often times where I have made the mistake of being like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. And then you look at me and you're like, that's it?
And?
And? Right?
Yeah.
You're like, and? Is that all you have to say about it? And it's because you're sharing something that is coming from you. This is your brainchild. And you want me to help you to expand on it. Because this is not just your company. Yeah. This is our company. And I need to be doing the yes and rather than thumbs up, right? Because that is at the end of the day how we're going to think bigger and better together.
I think I'm blessed in my career to work in a creative agency. Okay. You may think, oh, what's the issue? Like why your first job is as important as your wife, right? Like choosing a wife. Because the first job is when you start learning about how value is created. Because this is the model that you're working on. If you work for a supermarket or for a grocery store, that is your first job, first time ever earning. You will think that that's how life is. That's you sell product, you add margin. That's how it works. The fact that I started my career in a creative advertising agency is
one of the best in the world.
But it's instrumental the way I think about life, because what a creative ad agency sells are ideas. That's what we sell. There's no physical item that we're packaging and selling. We're selling ideas to the clients. And that agency specifically, they were celebrating ideas. This is all about ideas. We built frameworks and processes to stimulate creative thinking, right? And to make sure that the team knows a module of thinking that results in creative ideas, which means more money to the agency. So the money is associated with ideas early on in my career. And so there's a lot of rules that we used to live in. For example, there is no seniority when it comes to brainstorming. So this is another lesson I learned from Leo Burnett, is that when you're in a brainstorming session, you may have the creative director, which is the top creative guy in the agency usually, with the managing director for big campaigns, also the biggest person or position in the business side of things. So there's in every agency, there's creative side and business side. But also you may have the T-boy. I used to live in Saudi Arabia, and we have T-boys at the time. Maybe not. It's not politically correct anymore. But
what is a T-boy?
So in Saudi, there's still till this day there are T-boys, basically janitorial. So they clean, but they also sit in the kitchen. So they make your coffee. If you have a guest as a client, they will make nice cup of coffee and they serve it to you. That's what the T-boy does.
Interesting.
But we become so friends with the T-boys because, we also ask them for favors. Hey, could you sneak in outside and get me something?
Yeah.
So now the T-boy becomes friendly with everyone in the staff, and he becomes part of the family, part of the work. So sometimes the T-boy will be coming to the meeting room where we hold these brainstorming meetings, and he will be coming to give us water or to give us coffee or whatever. And we stop him like, hey, what do you think of this campaign? So that T-boy has his thought or his ideas are equivalent to the ideas of the creative director in that spot. And that's a rule. So we don't kill ideas in a meeting room. So all ideas must be appreciated. Of course, there's a control to the meeting so that we produce an outcome by the end of it. But the level of respect for people's ideas is equal regardless of seniority. So seniority drops. And that level of respect for ideas, I hold dear to my heart to this day. Because as soon as you start becoming arrogant that your ideas are better than everyone else, people sense it and they stop coming to you with more ideas. And that's how you stagnate and you start tripping and failing.
Oh my God. I have so much to say about this.
Please.
Because, okay, this is something that I had to learn, especially coming from you. I never experienced this before. So say, for example, in my family, there's 5 of us. I'm the oldest of 5, right? And so all of us were always fighting for the attention. All of us were and not that my mom was trying to make it this way or anything like that, but we were fighting because we wanted for our opinion, our idea to be the good one, to be the one that's heard.
Yeah.
So it's such an interesting concept that everybody's ideas are validated, because I come from a completely opposite idea within my family. And I think it was self-imposed between all of us, between the 5 of us. One person wanted to do one thing. Everybody wanted to do their a separate thing. And so the person who ended up getting what we were all going to do, that was the winner.
The loudest voice.
Exactly. The loudest voice wins.
Yes.
And so now we have a family, whether we like it or not. But from what I've seen is our family is competitive with each other.
Mm-hmm. I noticed that already.
Our family is so freaking competitive with each other. And I think that is a little bit to our detriment. But this is also why, I think there's positives and negatives to everything.
Yes.
This is also why I'm very opinionated.
Right.
This is also why I'm not afraid to speak in a room of VPs and directors and to be a trainer. Right. But it's because this is how I grew up.
Yeah.
And I think that and the reason I have so much to say about this is there was such a learning curve in finding the value of saying yes and, and saying more than just, yeah, that's good, or yes, I agree. I had to say the reason why I thought it was valuable,
Yeah.
It's almost like for the regular person, when they tell their partner, I love you, right?
Yeah.
Saying I love you we could just say as we're heading out the door, love you, right? That's not as meaningful as when I say, I love you because,
Here's
right?
why.
And here's why. And why I decided to say that to you in that moment.
Exactly. What prompts you to
Exactly.
say it at that particular time.
And I learned that also with you, when I'd be like, oh, honey, I love you. And then you'd be like, why are you saying that now?
What prompts you?
What prompted you to say this?
Yeah.
And then if I think about it, it's like, oh yeah, there was a reason behind it. It's just easy. It's so easy for me to just say, I love you without having to explain the why.
Right.
And so now I'm using my brain a lot more. I'm using that critical thinking as to, why am I being compelled to say this to you right now? There's more thought to it. It's a lot more special, and it's a lot more important. And that there's that value component. It's more valuable now when it comes from me rather than just saying I love you.
We're touching on really, really good stuff here. I grew up thinking, especially in my adult life, when I start realizing like, okay, evaluating my career, evaluating how am I doing and all of that. I thought that because I have lack of competitiveness, and I thought that that's a weakness. So, and it is, at some point I do understand, because competition gives you a lot of energy, a lot of motivation to, as you said, like to speak up, to fight for what you want, to it's like a race. But I didn't have that. And to be completely honest, I'm not even competitive within, my business right now. Like, I don't really look at competition. I don't really, and maybe it's a weakness. Maybe I should look what they are doing and what, sometimes I'm curious, but it's not like competition doesn't take a lot of my thought, a lot of space in my mind at all. I'm only focusing about how can I improve? How can I achieve, right? What can I do for the clients? That's what I'm thinking about.
I think that's a great thing. You know, it's good that you're aware of what else is out there, but you have that self-satisfaction and that confidence in yourself because you are only competing against yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you are saying, okay, what can I do to be better than I was yesterday?
Yeah.
And every time that you're consistently working on yourself, right? Every time you do that, you're getting 1% better. You're still getting better, but you're comparing it about who you were. You're comparing that to who you were yesterday,
Yeah.
not to anybody else, not to unrealistic expectations or unfair variables.
Yeah. It's like growing on your own pace. And I think I would have to regard ChatGPT credit because remember that night when we came home and I told you about, you know, how I'm working so hard to get to that financial goal a year. And then that financial goal that I have, in that same room, there are people who are doing it in a month. Do you remember that?
I do remember
And I
that.
felt like so all my life is for nothing really, like for like such a small thing. And I went to ChatGPT and I was like, okay, ChatGPT, you gotta be my therapist here. Because then I felt burned out.
Yeah.
I felt overwhelmed and burned out. And then I was like, okay. And then ChatGPT was like, everybody grows on their own pace. And you shouldn't be hard on yourself. One day, maybe you will be on their level, but, and if not, so what? As long as you're healthy, you're happy, you're enjoying your life, that's what matters in the end. And you think that you're doing something meaningful, right? I think that's more important than money sometimes. If you just sleep at night thinking that you're making a difference in people's life, one way or another. In my mind, I feel that Parrots Lab has a very noble mission. Very noble mission. We are in the legacy making business. We're documenting, we're making time stand still for that 1 hour a month. And that time that we freeze is documenting the journey of that person.
Yeah, and what people care about and what makes them, what compels people to help other people.
Exactly.
You know, we're at the end of the day, we're documenting people who are helping other people.
Sure.
And why they're passionate about it and exposing them to the world so that way they are able to have more traction with the kind of clients that they want to work for.
Yeah. And ultimately, even whether they get, of course, most of them get financial returns on investment directly. Like I can give you many examples on how we produce content for a client and then they will tell me the next day, oh, this person saw my video and they reached out. This happens all the time. Okay. But even if that doesn't happen, even if there's no financial returns to the videos that we're creating, I believe that we're still in a net positive gain in terms of our contribution to the world, just because life is so precious. You know, the life is magical. Do you look at your hands and mind and this whole thing, this whole existence is fascinating, and people are fascinating. Every person is different. Every person has uniqueness. As you said earlier, you know, you may not be Shakespeare, but you still have a unique life experience to share with people. And we need to motivate people to do that because that's amazing, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly what Gary was talking about. Gary said, find your own strength and hone it. Make it so good so that way you can share that strength with the world. Everybody has different strengths, their own unique strengths. It's our job. It's our responsibility to make sure that we're honing those strengths so that we can help other people.
Here's an example, just to your point. I was doing consulting with a client in SBDC, and she was talking about like, what is her value proposition? So I started talking to her and getting more information about her and her business. She said she does two things. I was like, okay, what do you do? She said, I'm a licensed family therapist, and I'm also a licensed nutritionist, dietitian. or nutritionist. I'm sorry, I might have destroyed the terminologies here, but basically she's a licensed therapist and a licensed nutritionist, which means that she sees clients for the nutrition business and she sees clients for the therapy business, right? And she's complaining that she's not having the growth that she wanted,
because she's lukewarm.
Yeah. Now, I worked with her and I told her something very key and she was blown away. I told her that how many people are therapists in America? She was like, okay, XYZ thousand of licensed therapists are there, right?
Yeah.
There's a sea of them, right? Mm-hmm. And I said, how many nutritionists are there? Let's, for the sake of example, we have 50,000 dietitian or nutritionists in California, and we have 50,000 therapists in California, for the sake of example. So then I asked, how many are both therapists and nutritionists? And she said, not too many, right? So now, instead of competing with 50,000 people, you're competing with almost no one. No one has the uniqueness that you have. You had two interests, one in family therapy and another in nutrition. And you actually took time to pursue both licenses, both certifications. And now you are, instead of having two businesses, you have a value proposition that is striking. That's your purpose, is you are someone who can combine these two lanes.
Yeah.
You become specific into the mental health issues that come from poor nutrition, or the poor nutrition that comes from bad habits and bad mental health issues. So now you have a full, unique value proposition.
That is so freaking true.
And that's what Gary was talking about, like leverage your uniqueness, right? Like go find what makes you different and then go all in with that.
Yep, exactly. I love that.
Awesome. Do you have any more?
Okay, this one makes me so mad. And I'm so sorry. I don't know who it was that asked the question. But at the end, again, he only gave us an hour. It's Q&A time. And I was like, oh my God, it's Q&A time. I was like so ready to raise my hand up, right? And so I was like, I had all of these questions and I was trying to choose from which of the questions that I was going to ask. And I was going to kind of relate it back to our business, like, because we're still new. This is our second year. And so Gary Vee was like, Gary was like, oh, I have 5 minutes. I could take 5 minutes of questions. And I was like, okay, at least it'll take a couple minutes. At least he'll take a few questions, right? So Kyle goes, are there any questions? And I raise my hand up. I'm on the second row. So I'm on the second row, but to the side. And so they end up choosing somebody right at the front. I didn't see who it was. And this person gets chosen. And it pissed me off so much. I was so disappointed because he goes on for 3 minutes.
3 out of the 5.
3, babe, I'm so sorry, but I was so frustrated because I really wanted to ask the question. And he goes on for 3 minutes praising Gary, right?
Okay.
Which is okay.
All right. Yeah. People do that.
Though I wish he had it, or I wish they had it, because he already knows all this stuff and it's just a waste of fluff. Right? Goes on for 3 minutes. And then he says, my question to you is, how do you decompress from all that you do? And I got so mad. I was like, are you kidding me? Of all the freaking questions that you could have asked.
Wow.
That's the question that you ask him. And I'm so sorry, but I was kind of upset because I was like, why would you ask him that question? Because in my head, knowing you as an entrepreneur, you live for this shit.
True.
You live for this shit. We go out on date nights. Part of our date nights is what can we do to be even better?
Right.
What excites you are some interesting ideas
to improve the business.
The business and to just be more creative.
Yeah.
This is fun for you. This is what you live for. Mm-hmm. And so when I heard, what do you do to decompress?
Change the job.
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, are you kidding me right now? My husband dreams about his work because he loves what he does.
Right.
And I can only imagine that this is what Gary's going to say. But okay, let's hear what he says.
So what did he say?
I'm so sorry, but I eye rolled because he said exactly what I expected, which was, I don't. I love what I do.
Yeah.
I'm constantly like, he's basically like, I'm stressed out when I'm not doing this stuff.
Thank you. That's what I feel.
He loves what he does so much because he's so invested in it. This is his baby. This is what he loves to do. And so he was like, I'm constantly going all the time. I'm always finding ways to be the best at my craft. I'm always thinking about what I can do to be even better. And that's what excites me. And I was like, yeah, I know that. I figured that, you know?
Absolutely.
This is what I do. Like, I'm so obsessed with helping with teaching. I'm obsessed with lifting other people up that this is what I do on my free time, which is come up with training that's going to stick. Right? That's why I have a channel called Learning That Sticks. And I'm so passionate about it. I could be going out, shopping, eating out, whatever, you know, but I do this because I love to spend my time coming up with ways and coming up with silly, maybe slightly stupid scenarios that will resonate with other people and to finally help them get better at their corporate jobs. Wow. You know, that's why I do this. And so he said exactly what I was thinking. And I was so mad because there were so many other questions that could have been asked, one of them being mine, but you know, and then that was the only question that he answered.
What would be the question that would you ask? Let's ask Gary Vee live from here.
All right. So this is maybe a bit of a selfish question, but you know, because I've talked to you about this. This is my passion project. And I would ask for my particular channel because I want it to go viral. I really do think that what I have to say, what I have to share is valuable to people. And maybe it's not valuable to everybody, but I do think that there are people out there that my content for them is worth listening to. And I want to ask him, if you were me in my shoes with the content that it is that I'm trying to spread out to other people, would you niche it out more or would you broaden it? What would you do to make it more relevant to audiences today? Because I know that scandalous and salacious things, that's what sells. I know that is the stuff that people pay attention to. They like the drama, right? But I'm not here trying to be dramatic. I'm trying to bring value to people.
Right.
So how do I make it so people can actually watch my content where I could keep it in a way that is still classy and valuable without being scandalous?
Love the question.
That's my question to you, Gary Vee.
Gary, if you're watching, please. But let's discuss it a little bit more, if you don't mind.
I don't know the answer. That's why I'm asking.
I don't know the answer either. Let's think about it together here, and maybe Gary would correct us. But I love what you earlier said. I wanted to ask you, what's your moonshot? But I think you just answered it like minutes ago with your channel. Mm-hmm. Like you want to help employees do better at their job. Do you think that is your moonshot?
I do. I want to help people get away from that imposter syndrome.
Right.
I think all of us, you and I included, because we talk about this all the time.
Right.
We're succeeding. We're doing good. We're getting our clients. But still inside us, there's this part inside of us, inside of both of us, where we still feel like whatever it is that we have to offer is not enough. And I can bet that 95% of people out there feel that same way. They might be a CEO. They might be the first person to open up and to create a product that has never been seen before that is actually valuable and useful.
Right.
But they'll still feel like some way, somehow, somewhere, they're not enough. And that holds so many people back. And I want, at least starting off with managers, with companies that are trying to grow. I want them to be able to have a voice and to be able to take these videos that I'm sharing with them and let them know that they're not alone. Let them know that this feeling of imposter syndrome can be overcome. And here are some tools that you can use that maybe you can identify with that is the issue to you or the problem for you. These are the tools that you can use so you can build up your toolkit, so you could build up your arsenal. And hopefully that'll help somebody feel more confident as they step into the boardroom to share their creative mind, to share that project that they've been wanting to execute for a long time, or even to advocate for their own promotion or raise.
Yeah.
That's what I want.
But you also share like practical tips too. Like the other video was about PowerPoint. The other one is about like 5 tips to.
Yeah, but these are all going towards that main goal. So yeah, like I talk about a bunch of different shit, but this is all for that one main goal of hopefully somebody resonates with some of those that are tools for them to help them be more confident and more successful.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to argue against is that it's not just fighting the imposter syndrome. Problems people have in the corporate world, they don't speak enough and stuff, but also they need also actual skills, soft skills you call them, and you talk a lot about them in your channel. But what I'm trying to get at is that if the goal is to help people do better at their job, grow within their job, then it's broader than what you currently do, which means that you have still room to go broader. Again, we're attempting to answer the question. It might not be the right one. Maybe some people, they can tell you like, we need to be hyper specific and hyper niched out. So I'm just saying that one way to think about it is that if the goal is to help people succeed in their job and grow within their company, within the corporate world, because I think there's a lot of buzz around entrepreneurship, but it's not for everyone. And we have to face that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value in just that predictable paycheck that comes every month. So or every 2 weeks. And I don't agree to praise entrepreneurship so much then we demean also the people who are employed. They are also awesome people.
Yeah.
They have less stress in their lives and you have to respect their choices. They might be very happy people even if they work for someone else. That's no problem. But what your moonshot is, from my understanding, is that you want to help that person get better chances of growing within their company, on feeling more fulfilled at their job, spreading that positivity and enjoyment around work. Would you say I explained it correctly?
I still think it goes back to imposter syndrome, in my opinion. So I still think it goes back to what Gary said when it comes to lack of self-confidence and insecurity. Imposter syndrome encompasses a lot of that. You know, people are so insecure and they're insecure and they have those imposter syndromes because they feel like they're lacking something. And so I'm touching on all of these little things that will help that those little mini trainings or those mini sessions to stick, you know? For example, a trainer, the death by PowerPoint presentation or that
Video.
That video is so that for trainers, a lot of them, because I'm a trainer, they have that imposter syndrome or that insecurity of, is my PowerPoint too long? Is it too lengthy? Is it too short? Is it enough? Right? And so this is kindly and in a funny way reminding them what a good PowerPoint should look like, right? The soft skills one, when it comes to the soft skills video, that could literally be for anybody. It could be for somebody who's an entrepreneur. It could be for somebody who's just starting off any job. It could be for somebody who's in middle management. It really is for anybody. But the whole point of that is there is so much insecurity about those soft skills because they don't know what they don't know, right? And to me, I really do think it goes back to that imposter syndrome. They are afraid that they're not good enough because there's things that they are lacking. And these things, these are skills that in my channel, they'll be able to use and put into their toolkits to help them to be more confident and reduce that feeling of imposter syndrome.
All right. So would you say that a title for your channel could be
Learning That Sticks? Yes.
Learning That Sticks, Combating Imposter Syndrome at Your Job?
No. Learning That Sticks. That's what I think my channel.
No, of course, the name of it, right? That, but like mission statement. I'm thinking mission statement here. Because I think you said something around like, okay, I want to help people get better at their job and grow in their jobs. I'm trying to like just to hone in into the definite and what this channel is about, like the identity, the purpose of that channel.
Yeah.
Because that will help us answer the question that you had for Gary Vee, which is how broad or narrow you can go. It's within the limitation of that value proposition or that statement of purpose.
Yeah. So I don't want to commit to anything right now.
I feel like you're on the spot.
Yeah, I feel like you're putting me on the spot because that's my question. Like, I don't know the answer and I don't want to be reactive based off of data that I don't have yet.
Of course. I love your answer right now. It shows a lot of humility and that's fine.
Yeah.
We don't have to have answers to everything.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm not trying to fix anything now, but I would love the advice. I would have loved to be able to ask that question and I explained to you why. Right. So I don't have the answer. I'm not trying to fix it. I'm going to continue doing what I'm doing in a way that makes it feel like I'm adding value without either putting myself in a little box or putting myself in a space that is too uncertain and I'm not able to have at least a little bit of control.
I respect that.
Thank you.
It's also about letting the algorithm also choose, because now you might be trying different videos to see which one works better.
Yeah.
Like maybe one of the videos finally like gets a lot of traction and now you lean in to what's working because basically you're listening to what the people want. Because you may have a lot of ideas about this and that and how people should be, but then they will vote. They will vote by engaging with one particular piece that shows you that direction. So I respect that you don't want to talk about purpose and state like to define it and to have like a hard walls around what you want your channel to be at this particular time. Yeah, maybe later you will have a clear idea, maybe never, right?
I mean, I hope I do, but I would never want to take an action, and just be reactive because this channel is important to me, right? So I'm not just going to do something based off of a conversation. But this is also what I love about our conversations. You give me ideas and sometimes I reject them.
Yeah.
Because and the reason I do that is not because I don't care, but it's because I care so freaking much. I want to make sure that I'm fully on board with something before I ever do anything.
Yeah. And I respect that.
Thank you.
I respect pushback. I will try my best to stay within that. Like, even if in my mind, like, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can that not everything that in my mind is no brainer is the right decision.
Did you feel like this is a no-brainer question?
No, at all. Like what I'm trying to say is that, for example, if I am in your shoes, just the way I'm built, which I'm built differently, but I think you showed me that my approach is not the accurate one because I corrected myself. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if I was in your shoes, I would be hungry to define, to put definitions.
Yeah.
It's just the way I work. And probably that's why it's so hard for me to work on Parrots Lab website. Why? Because I have to write this header. That header is a pain in my butt. Remember, we had this conversation. What is Parrots Lab? We really don't have accurate words to describe what we do as a company. Are we a podcast production? Is this podcast? Yeah, it is podcast, but it's more like a high-end video podcast. So it's video first. Who is what are we doing this for? We're doing it for YouTube, which is a video channel, right? So are we a podcast agency? No. I'm not a podcast agency. Go to the old radio stations. Those are podcast agency.
Yeah.
All right. So what are we? Are we a digital marketing agency? Well, one of the key highlight of our service is to have an actual video studio. Digital marketing agencies you can work from overseas. You can design websites and manage social media posts and design posts on Canva and that's digital marketing.
Yeah.
So we are not even digital marketing. If you tell me I'm a digital marketing, I feel like I'm inferior or I'm not what I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
So we're not that either. And so what are we? Are we a video production company? Well, we don't have the same structure of a video production. Video production, usually they don't have studio. They rent per project. They even rent the equipment per project. They work with storyboards and actors and all of that. We don't all have all of that.
Yeah.
So we're not even a video production agency.
Yeah.
Are we a media company? All right. So this is where I'm leaning. I think we are a bit of everything. All of these combined. We are a media company. We produce the shows for the clients. We have now the Chris Markarian podcast, the Doing Business in the Inland Empire for John Heaton. That's another podcast. We have your channel. That's another content creation show, right? We have the LD2G, the Excellence Factor podcast. We have
The Daily Vixen.
The Daily Vixen podcast. We have Moonshooters, right? So we produce shows. So we are technically a media company. Mm-hmm. But that's exactly why I respect your answers, because I've been always wanted to put definitions on who we are and what we do. And it's extremely difficult. And I love that you resisted to answer that, because you don't want to put limitations. You don't want to build that wall. You want to keep yourself open to possibilities. And I'm now realizing that maybe we should do the same for Parrots Lab. Like, why I'm so keen and frustrated to put definitions on what we are and what we do, although it's not really clear what we do.
Honey, I am in no way saying that I have the answers. I don't. I just know that I can be stubborn, and I know that like I care so much about what we're doing, and I care about my channel. And I don't have all the answers, so I don't want to presume that I have or act like I have all the answers, you know? I just want to be real, and I know truthfully and realistically, I don't fully know where to go. I don't fully know whether to be broad. I don't fully know whether to niche it out. And again, that's the reason why I wanted to ask. Mm-hmm. And I can truly say that I don't have a gut feeling about it, because I think I would sway a little bit more towards that gut feeling. And I don't know if maybe asking Gary Vee is the right answer, or going by whatever, or if I'll even like the answer that he gives me. But I would love to hear what his ideas are, and what his thought is on this. Yeah. And maybe I will not take his advice, but I would still love to hear it.
And by the way, we're open for anyone who's listening and watching to help us answer the question, and maybe to say something in the comments to probably help us make a decision, whether in your channel making like what's the right answer for broadening or going more niche, versus what the positioning of Parrots Lab should be. Mm-hmm. Should we say that we are a media company? Should we say we're a video company? What should we say? Again, if you have answers, because eventually we get asked. That's the thing. People want that answer. So in a networking event, what do you do? So what do I say? What is Parrots Lab, right? So sometimes we are pushed to answer. Mm-hmm. And our brain is trying its best to come up with an answer.
You know, how we should always answer?
How?
It depends. So just for you who don't know, we work with a lot of lawyers. A lot of our clients are lawyers, and that is really their main answer. Anytime I ask them a question, they'll be like, it depends.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
All right. Well, this was Moonshooters.
Right. Yeah, this is Moonshooter with the spice of taking the leap, because we have to give credit to Taking the Leap, which is our original podcast.
Yeah.
But we are shooting at the Moonshooters set, which is a brand new set.
Yeah, this was fun. This was interesting. And you know what? At the end of the day, we are just here to celebrate the people who are freaking trying, right? We're here to celebrate and to help out the people who still have questions and who are being willing to be vulnerable and open about where they're at, how they've grown, and what they're shooting for.
You nailed it. That's, ladies and gentlemen, Diana Melgar.
Thank you. All right. Well, have a great day.